What I'm about to reveal to you will unlock a spiritual dimension you didn't even know existed. Jesus spoke words about fasting in secret that most believers completely overlook. And when you understand what he truly meant, everything about your prayer life, your breakthrough, and your intimacy with God is about to shift in ways you cannot even imagine right now. You've been praying, you've been seeking, you've been asking God for that breakthrough, for that miracle, for that open door. But there's something Jesus said about fasting in secret that holds the key to accessing a level of divine power that transforms not just your circumstances, but transforms the very fabric of your spiritual reality. And today, this is your moment to discover what heaven has been waiting to release in your life. Listen carefully. Jesus said these exact words. When you fast, do not be like the hypocrites with a sad countenance, for they disfigure their faces that they may appear to men to be fasting. Assuredly, I say to you, they have their reward. But you, when you fast, anoint your head and wash your face, so that you do not appear to men to be fasting, but to your Father who is in the secret place. And your Father who sees in secret will reward you openly. Did you catch that? Your Father who sees in secret will reward you openly. This isn't just about skipping meals. This isn't just about discipline or religious duty. Jesus is revealing a spiritual law that activates heaven's attention in ways that public displays of religion never could. He's showing you a doorway into divine favor that most people walk right past because they're too busy performing for an audience that cannot give them what their soul desperately needs. You're here right now because something inside you knows there's more. You've sensed it. There's a deeper level of breakthrough available. There's a dimension of answered prayer that seems just out of reach. And what Jesus is about to show you through this teaching is going to change how you approach your entire relationship with God from this day forward. Right now, in this moment, God is inviting you into the secret place. Not the place where everyone can see your sacrifice. Not the place where people applaud your dedication. But the hidden place. The place where it's just you and Him. The place where your motives are pure because there's no audience to impress. And in that secret place, something supernatural happens that cannot happen anywhere else. Here's what most people don't understand about fasting in secret. When Jesus talks about your Father seeing in secret, He's not just saying God notices what you do when no one else is watching. He's revealing that God has a specific response, a specific reward, a specific breakthrough that He reserves exclusively for those who seek Him without any other agenda. When you fast in secret, you're telling God, "You are enough. Your approval is all I need. Your presence is the only audience that matters." And God responds to that. Oh, how He responds to that. Think about this for a moment. When you post about your spiritual disciplines online, when you make sure people know how dedicated you are, when you wear your sacrifice like a badge of honor, you get your reward immediately. People notice. People comment. People think you're spiritual. And that's it. That's all you get. The applause of people who will forget about your post by tomorrow. But when you fast in secret, when you deny yourself and nobody knows, when you press into God without any recognition from the world, you activate a completely different spiritual economy. Your Father who sees in secret will reward you openly. This is a promise. This is a guarantee. This is Jesus telling you that hidden devotion leads to public breakthrough. Secret sacrifice leads to visible blessing. Private intimacy with God leads to manifest displays of His power in your life. But here's where it gets even more powerful, and you need to hear this. The reward God gives is not just better than human recognition. It's categorically different. When people reward you, they give you temporary approval, fleeting praise, shallow validation. When God rewards you, He opens doors no man can shut. He makes ways where there is no way. He brings opportunities that human networking could never produce. He releases favor that defies natural explanation. He answers prayers that seemed impossible. He shifts circumstances that appeared permanent. You see, fasting in secret is not about earning God's love. You already have that. It's about positioning yourself to receive what God has already prepared for you. It's about creating space for God to move in your life without the interference of human opinion, without the distortion of pride, without the dilution of mixed motives. Jesus knew something that we often forget. He knew that the human heart is desperately wicked and deceitful above all things. He knew that even our best intentions can become corrupted when we do them for the wrong reasons. That's why He didn't just teach about fasting. He taught about the heart posture behind the fast. He taught about the secrecy that protects your motives. He taught about the hidden life that produces authentic transformation. Imagine this for a moment. Imagine what happens in the spiritual realm when you choose to fast and tell no one, when hunger pains remind you to pray instead of complain, when you deny your physical appetite to increase your spiritual hunger, when you create empty space in your life that can only be filled with more of God's presence. Something shifts, something breaks, something opens. The enemy doesn't want you to know this, but there are certain kinds of breakthroughs that only come through prayer and fasting. Jesus said this Himself. There are certain demons that don't come out except by prayer and fasting. There are certain strongholds that won't break except through this kind of dedication. There are certain levels of spiritual authority that only develop in the secret place of sacrifice that no one sees. And here's the beautiful mystery of it all. When you fast in secret, you're not trying to twist God's arm. You're not trying to manipulate heaven. You're simply saying, God, I want you more than I want comfort. I want your presence more than I want food. I want your will more than I want my own way. And that kind of surrender, that kind of hunger for God, it moves the heart of your Father in ways that religious performance never could. Stay with me, because what comes next is going to unlock everything. When Jesus says your Father will reward you openly, He's not just talking about blessings you can see with your physical eyes. Yes, there will be tangible breakthroughs. Yes, there will be answered prayers that manifest in your circumstances. But the deepest reward is this: intimacy with God Himself. You begin to know Him in ways that transform you from the inside out. You begin to hear His voice with clarity you've never experienced before. You begin to sense His leading with confidence that removes all doubt. You begin to walk in peace that makes no natural sense given your circumstances. This is what happens when you fast in secret. You trade temporary comfort for eternal treasure. You trade the approval of people for the favor of heaven. You trade the seen for the unseen. And in that exchange, you discover that what God has for you is infinitely better than anything this world could ever offer. But let me be very specific with you about how this actually works in your daily life, because this isn't just theory. This is practical. This is applicable. This is for you right now, today, in whatever situation you're facing. When you choose to fast in secret, you're creating a deliberate interruption in your normal routine. Every time you feel hungry and choose to pray instead of eat, you're retraining your flesh to submit to your spirit. You're reminding your body that it doesn't get to dictate your decisions. You're cultivating self-control that spills over into every other area of your life. Think about the areas where you've struggled with discipline. Think about the habits you've tried to break and couldn't. Think about the temptations that keep winning the battle for your willpower. Fasting in secret is training ground. It's where you learn that you can say no to immediate gratification. It's where you discover that temporary discomfort produces eternal results. It's where you build spiritual muscle that makes you strong enough to overcome whatever the enemy throws at you. And this is where it gets powerful. When you fast in secret, you're not just denying yourself food. You're denying yourself the need for recognition. You're denying yourself the craving for validation. You're denying yourself the addiction to approval. And in doing so, you're breaking free from one of the most powerful chains that keeps believers in bondage: the fear of what people think. God wants you to know something right now. He's more impressed by what you do in secret than by what you do in public. He's more moved by the prayers you pray when no one is listening than by the prayers you perform when everyone is watching. He's more responsive to the worship you offer in private than to the worship you display on a stage. Because in secret, your heart is pure. In secret, your motives are clean. In secret, it's just about Him. Your Father who sees in secret will reward you openly. Let that sink deep into your spirit. The God of the universe, the creator of all things, the one who knows every star by name and numbers every hair on your head, this God is watching you in your secret place. He sees when you choose Him over comfort. He sees when you sacrifice and don't broadcast it. He sees when you press into prayer while your stomach growls. And He rewards that. He honors that. He responds to that. Wait, there's more Jesus revealed that most people miss completely. When He told His disciples to anoint their heads and wash their faces while fasting so they wouldn't appear to be fasting, He was teaching them something revolutionary. He was saying, look like everything is normal on the outside while you're doing something extraordinary on the inside. This is the lifestyle of the secret place. This is the power of hidden devotion. You don't walk around with a sad face telling everyone how hard you're praying. You don't advertise your sacrifice. You don't make a show of your spirituality. Instead, you smile. You engage with life. You go about your daily business. And all the while, in the secret place of your heart, you're in constant communion with God. You're pressing into His presence. You're seeking His face. And nobody knows but you and Him. This is the part that changes everything. When you live this way, you develop a supernatural joy that doesn't depend on circumstances. People look at you and wonder why you're not worried about what's worrying them. They ask how you stay so peaceful when everything around you is chaos. They're curious about the source of your strength. And without saying a word about your fasting, without bragging about your prayer life, without announcing your spiritual disciplines, your life becomes a testimony. Your peace becomes a witness. Your joy becomes an invitation. This is the open reward Jesus promised. It's not just blessings and breakthroughs, though those will come. It's the manifest presence of God radiating through your life in ways that draw others to Him. It's the fruit of the Spirit becoming so evident in you that people can't help but notice something different. It's the transformation that happens from the inside out, starting in the secret place and flowing into every visible aspect of your life. Heaven is waiting for you to step into this reality. God has been preparing breakthroughs for you that are specifically connected to your willingness to seek Him in secret. There are doors He wants to open that will only open when you stop performing for people, and start pursuing Him in the hidden place. There are prayers He's ready to answer that He's been holding back until your heart is postured correctly, until your motives are pure, until you want Him more than you want the answer. When you surrender the need for public recognition, when you choose secret devotion over visible performance, when you fast and pray and seek God without telling a soul, you step into a flow of divine favor that repositions everything in your life. Opportunities you weren't qualified for suddenly become available. Relationships that seemed broken begin to heal. Finances that made no sense start to align. Health that was declining begins to improve. Peace that was elusive becomes your constant companion. Your breakthrough begins when you stop waiting for people to validate your spiritual life and start living it in secret with God. Your miracle is connected to your willingness to seek Him when no one is watching. Your answered prayer is linked to the devotion you demonstrate in the hidden place where only He can see. This is your moment. Right now, Jesus is inviting you into a deeper level of relationship with Him, not the kind you post about, not the kind you perform, but the real kind, the intimate kind, the secret kind, the kind that happens when it's just you and Him and nothing else matters. Here's exactly what you need to do, and I want you to hear this as God speaking directly to your heart. Choose a specific time to fast. It doesn't have to be long. It doesn't have to be complicated. Start with one meal. Start with one day. Start wherever you are. But make the decision that during that time you're not going to tell anyone. This is between you and God. When you feel hungry, pray. When you're tempted to announce what you're doing, remind yourself that your Father who sees in secret will reward you openly. Use that time to pour out your heart to God. Tell Him everything you've been holding back. Confess the sins you've been hiding. Share the dreams you've been afraid to voice. Ask for the miracles you've been too embarrassed to request. In the secret place, there's no pretense. In the secret place, you can be completely real. And God meets you there with a level of presence and power that will transform you. And then wash your face. Anoint your head. Go about your day with joy. Don't walk around looking miserable or spiritual. Just live your life while carrying the secret conversation with God in your heart. Let the fast be something sacred between you and Him. Protect that intimacy. Guard that privacy. And watch what God does. He will reward you openly. It's not a matter of if. It's a matter of when. And the reward will be better than anything you could have orchestrated through your own efforts or manipulated through public performance. The reward will be God Himself showing up in your situation and doing what only He can do. You are standing on the edge of breakthrough right now. Everything you've been praying for, everything you've been believing for, everything you've been waiting for, it's all connected to this principle Jesus taught about fasting in secret. When you get this right, when you embrace this lifestyle, when you make the secret place your priority, heaven responds in ways that defy explanation. God is calling you deeper. He's calling you higher. He's calling you into the secret place where miracles are born, where prayers are answered, where transformation happens, where your destiny unfolds. Stop living for the approval of people who can't give you what your soul needs. Stop performing your spirituality for an audience that will forget you by tomorrow. Start seeking God in secret. Start fasting when no one knows. Start building a life of hidden devotion that produces visible fruit. This is how you access the fullness of what God has for you. This is how you step into breakthrough. This is how you experience the power of answered prayer. This is how you walk in the favor that opens impossible doors. Your Father who sees in secret will reward you openly. That's not just a nice idea. That's a promise from Jesus himself. That's a guarantee from heaven. That's your invitation into everything God has been preparing for you. Right now, make the decision. Tell God you're ready. Tell him you want more of him than you want comfort, more of his presence than food, more of his approval than human recognition. Step into the secret place and watch your Father reward you openly in ways that will leave you in awe of his goodness, his faithfulness, and his love for you.